Hey, Periscope. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. I hope you all can hear me clearly. I hope my audio's not messed up. I started it with my headphones out in and took them out. Good morning. Can you all hear me clearly? Can you all hear me clearly? Okay, great. Good morning. Hey Josh, what's up? Good scope last night. Great, Apostle Matthew. How you doing this morning? I'm glad you will behave. All right. All right. Good morning, everybody. All right, I've been on, those of you who may be new to my Periscope, I've been doing a series this week about apostleship and testing those who say they are apostles. Thank you so much, those of you who are inviting your followers already. So yeah, let's lay, I know. Let's just lay some groundwork. If you are on here, invite your followers. Invite your followers. You're right. Invite your followers. Let's get more people on here to hear what I have to say about apostleship and testing those who say they are apostles. And also, thank you. And also those of you who are on here, give hearts. Give hearts again. I'm trying to reach 1 million before the end of the year. I believe it's very likely. I'm about halfway there. And it can be done. And especially those of you, I know, especially those of you who are watching the replay, your hearts count as well. And I appreciate. Sowing hearts. All right. Full effect. Yes, it is. All right, you all. I know. All right, you all. I wanna get started on this. Monday, I believe it was, I started speaking about apostleship and how out of 2 Corinthians 12, verse 12, it speaks about how Paul's apostleship was proven by signs and wonders and mighty acts. So I talked about how one of the dominant signs and seals of apostleship is supernatural activity. It's signs, it's wonders, it's mighty acts or miracles. Secondly, I believe, what was it, yesterday, I talked about how apostles are warfare oriented. Yeah, I know. I talk about how apostles are warfare oriented and how their assignment is to build a heavenly blueprint, much like how Moses built from a heavenly pattern. And I gave definition to apostleship and where that office actually originated from, and how that was the only office that was given with the church. So today I want to speak about something that I believe is very important as it pertains to apostleship and churches and houses that are called to do apostolic work. So once again, those of you who are on here, thank you so much for the hearts. Hello, new followers. Just invite your followers. Those of you with iPhone, swipe from left to right and share this with your followers. Those of you who are Android users, from bottom to top, and share this with your followers. Thank you so very much. All right. So today, I want to go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. I have a little bit of time, but I believe I can get this message across in the little bit of time that I have. Thank you all so very much for inviting your followers. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses, let's look at verses 7. It says, unless I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of the revelations, a thorn in the flesh was given to me, a messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. And then at verse 8, concerning this thing, I pleaded with the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. Verse 9, and he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I would rather boast in my infirmities than that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So what I want to talk about today is the fact that those who are called to be apostles, it is inevitable that persecution follows your ministry, that persecution is attracted to your ministry. Now, when Paul speaks about the thorn in his flesh, many scholars argue about what this thorn was, but I think that it's clear through accurately exegeting the text that he was literally literally of being persecuted, and literal, not necessarily demons, but literal messengers of Satan were sent to buffet him in ministry, to be a distraction to him, to be persecutors of him, to be accusers of him. So I want to affirm those of you who are called into the apostolic office, do not be afraid of persecution. As a matter of fact, if your ministry is not being persecuted, I would go back and re-examine whether or not you are really called into the apostolic office, because persecution will follow you. Now, this is one thing about persecution. It's just not coming from the sinners. It's just not coming from the politics, even though those things are true. But the majority of persecution will come from the church, believe it or not. It will come through religious spheres, religious structures, religious people, jealous men. It will come through avenues, much like Judas. How Judas was sent to be a stumbling block to Jesus. So much so are we today, those who are called to be apostles today. Exactly, Apostle Matthew. Religion will be the major stumbling block to the apostolic ministry. Jesus said it this way: beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. He was addressing, hallelujah, the religiosity of the church and those who are called to pioneer truth, those who are called to pioneer revelation. Exactly, because apostles bring revelation. Exactly. And I believe that's what Paul was emphasizing in verse 7 of 2 Corinthians chapter 12. He said, lest I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of revelation. So the earmark and the thing that attracts persecution is revelation, it's truth, it's light. These are things that apostles will not compromise in. Revelation, truth, and light. Their main objective is to pioneer revelation. It's to break through revelation where there's been religious structure set up, where there's been false gods and false deities set up. Apostles are called to break through the religiosity, to break through the idolatry with present day truth and revelation. So I want you to go. And again, the reason why this is why apostles are dumb. Intelligence is intelligence is an earmark of the apostolic mandate, and those who are called to the apostolic office, to the apostles' office, they will walk in an unprecedented level of revelation, truth, and intelligence, as Apostle Matthew stated. So I want you to go and to examine the fruit of people who call themselves apostles. The reason why I started this again is because Revelation chapter 2 verse 2 says Jesus began to commend the church of Ephesus because he said that they tried those who claimed to be apostles and found them liars. They were false, and he found them liars. So again, it is not an injustice. It is not demonically judgmental or critical to try those who say they are apostles, because it is our job, it is our responsibility to try the tree by its truth, to try the tree by its fruit. We must look at the tree, we must examine the fruit, and we must see whether or not it lines up with what men and women say they are. If you say you are an apostle, you should bear the fruits of which I've been speaking about this week. You should bear the fruits of supernatural activity. You should bear, hallelujah, you should bear the fruit of being warfare oriented, of being assignment minded, of being a pioneer, of being a spiritual envoy, one who colonizes territories. You should be one, as I'm saying today, who's not afraid of persecution. Apostles will not be afraid of persecution because, as Paul stated, it is in his weakness that the grace of God is made strong. So it's in times of persecution that the office and mantle of the apostle will stand stronger than ever. I believe that this is what the Lord is wanting us to fix our gaze and fix our eyes upon. The fact that God is raising up true apostles in this time, and the false apostles will be identified as teachings of truth, as teachings of revelation, as teachings of basic principles of knowing how to identify a tree by its fruit. I believe that God will begin to identify and expose false apostles, and then he will present ways of opportunity and platforms for the true apostles to be acknowledged, to be recognized. Yes, God is raising up those with discernment. So I want you to I want you all to, those of you who are just getting on here, I want you to share this with your followers. I want the true apostles to see this. I want the false apostles to see this. I want the bad apostles to see this. Because just like not everyone who's a false prophet, not everyone who is a bad prophet is a false prophet. It's likewise with the apostolic. Not everyone who's a bad apostle is a false apostle. There are many apostles who need to be reminded of their mantle, who need to be reminded of their obligation, need to be reminded of their mandate, because the cares of life have sifted away the seed that's been planted on the inside of them, and many of them need to be re-strengthened in the things of the Lord concerning their mandate and their assignment in this age, in this world. So I want you all to share this with your followers. If they weren't able to catch this, it will pop up on their news feed, and they can catch the replay. Once again, thank you all for the so much for the hearts. And also, someone asked me a question yesterday. It has nothing to do with this, but I did want to address it before I forgot. I did a series last week on the prophetic. And someone asked me in a Q&A, what do you do when you have children? I believe the ages of like 7 and 11 who are called into the prophetic. Thank you all. Good morning, Mom. Who may be called into the prophetic, or who may be having dreams or visions and prophetic activity. It's not on YouTube. I may play some of them on YouTube. I'm not sure. How do you cultivate that? Now, my thing is this: as a parent, don't leave the primary responsibility to the church to cultivate your children when your children are called to the prophetic. Good morning, Prophetess Tracy. When your children are called to the prophetic, or when they're showing early signs of being prophetic, I would admonish you to do as Eli did with Samuel. Eli, when Samuel believed he heard from the Lord, Eli encouraged him to get into the presence of God, to ask the Lord to speak to them, to speak to him. So I believe that your responsibility, you who asked the question, is to cultivate your children. Teach them how to hear from God. Teach them about having a relationship with God. Explain to them the fact that God speaks to people today and that God is speaking to them. Also get them in prophetic environments where they see what's going on so that they can relate to it. So I just wanted to send that insight to you. So thank you all so very much for streaming with me this morning. I hope this was a blessing to you all. Again, share on Facebook, on Twitter. Let this revelation get out to them. All right. Thank you all so very much. Hope you all have a blessed day. This is probably the only one I'm gonna do today. I'm periscoped out. All right. So love you all so very much, and I will see you all later. Blessings to you. Bye.